Alright, so Paul Harold did a video, and the whole video was about the top 5 things he thinks he needs for survival. Anyway, I don't really care about that. That's not how I'm making my video, but that video most definitely inspired mine. Now, the takeaway that I think should be most important with this video and Paul Harold's video is, it happens to the best of us. We get lost sometimes. It's absolutely terrifying, but if you keep your cool, you can get through it. Now, a disclaimer, or a caveat as Paul would say. The things I did back then do not reflect my life now. I made a lot of stupid choices back then that can't be held against me. I think we've all been through stupid choices, and I believe all of us can agree our younger self is not the person we are right now. And I want to make this video as honest as possible so you can understand the stupid mistakes I made that piled up on top of each other to put me in the situation I was in. Alright, so, where to start? I suppose he started with gears, so that's where I should start with. Now, this gear I'm wearing right now is absolutely not representative to what I had. Right now, I'm holding an M16A2 National Match. Well, I was bow hunting, so I had a Matthews Classic bow. I had a full quiver of arrows. I had BDUs on, some cheap Walmart boots. They kind of looked military in a way, and I thought that was cool, so I bought them. And then a military issue, just a brown t-shirt. I had a compass, one that was pinned to my t-shirt. I had one of those shake 'em up flashlights. I don't know if the technology got better, but they're totally garbage. But back then I thought that was like the coolest thing ever, because I could literally just shake up the flashlight and the battery's never dying. It's just a one purchase, good to go. I had a Zippo lighter, a butane lighter, a full deck of Newports, roughly 3/4 of a tin of Kodiak. I had a dugout, a bat, a field knife. I don't think I had my M9 bayonet yet at this point. I believe it was the knife from Scream. Now, before you go, why didn't you use your cell phone, GPS or whatever? This is way back when. We didn't even have cameras on cell phones yet. I remember dreaming about what it's going to be like when they finally get cameras on cell phones, because I could send pictures back and forth to girls. Like, that's how long ago this was. So, right, the story goes, me and a buddy of mine were bow hunting on the Grand River Marsh. I'll put some Google images of what that looks like. And we've hunted this place a billion times. Like, so many times, it's ridiculous. It's getting close to the end of season. It's got to be like 20 minutes before the close of season. All of a sudden, I hear a noise. Whap! Drills the deer. I'm like, ooh, yeah. And the thing is, you don't want to chase a deer right away. And now, this is towards... It's getting to the point where we're having Indian summers. So, when the sun's out and stuff, it's like 65 degrees, maybe low 60s. So, I'm dressed, t-shirt, BDUs, nothing else. No gloves, no hat. I did have like a boonie hat on. But I mean, like, no warmth-creating hat. And then as night comes, it drops down to like 40s and 30s. Because it's like right at that point where winter's there. Winter's there, just summer hasn't accepted it yet. So in the daytime, you get summer. And then at nighttime, it's right into fall. Water can freeze. That sort of situation. Now the terrain, well, as the name implies, it's the Grand River Marsh. It's a nice flat area. It's not like this at all with hills. However, the water table is really, really close to the surface. So every once in a while, you'd step down and your foot would go into water. It's just the way it is when you're hunting in marsh. A lot of deer in the marsh, but the cover is ridiculous and there's water everywhere. A deer could be so close to you, you can practically smell him and you wouldn't know he's there. Your field of view is like nothing. You have to get up in a tree. So he drills this deer. We both climbed down out of our trees. I had a little stand. It was basically just like one of those steps you see for deer stands, but it had a piece of wood that would slide on it. So I'd climb up the tree and I'd screw it into the tree, slide the piece of wood on and sit in there. And when I get down, it would just clip on my belt loop, on my belt, and just hang right there. Anyway, he comes down and we get blasted. I mean, just wrecked. Like, stupid silly. And for provisions, I believe I had like a half drink in Mountain Dew and maybe some gummy worms, possibly. I may have not even had the gummy worms. This was a long time ago. So anyways, we get blasted. We start tracking this deer. By the time we actually like get our senses together enough to start looking for the deer, it's full dark. So we're more or less crawling on the ground. At first, the blood trail's nice and solid. Like, it's just a solid line. We're like, ooh, this is going to be easy to find. We've waited long enough. It's had plenty of time to die because you don't want to go chase a deer right away because it'll stay on its adrenaline and it can go really, really far. If you give it a chance to lay down and die, chances are it'll be right there. So we're getting a nice, strong blood trail. I got my little shake 'em up flashlight. We're walking, and he's got his, it's supposed to detect blood. And that thing worked like crap. It didn't detect the damn thing. It just threw off a funny light. Didn't help at all. I don't know if other ones worked better. His did not. So we're going. Also, we find like a nice pool of blood. And there's the arrow. We're like, oh no. Because once the arrow kicks out and the broadhead's not in there, if it's not dead by that point, it's probably going to live for at least a few days. And we decided, we're like, okay, so what do? Do we keep tracking it because that's the ethical thing to do, or do we just give up because this is the Grand River Marsh? It's only got to hop one little river because there's like a spider web of rivers that come through, come to little ends, then they like do all these crazy turns. We decide, yes, you know, it is ethical. We at least got to make a reasonable effort to try to track this thing. It's dark out. Our little flashlights suck. So we're tracking it, and basically one of us would find a blood spot. We'd stand right there while the other one looks for the next spot. Then when he finds that spot, then the next person would come up, and he would start looking for a spot. When he found a spot, and we'd just leapfrog. We were at it forever. It must have been 9:30, 10 o'clock at night by now. I'm freezing. My feet are soaked. I can see my breath. I'm like, oh, this is getting bad. Finally, we come to the blood trail where it comes to a spot where we can't cross. We're talking at least waist deep water. We're just not doing that. That's when we got to call it quits. We've already been at it for hours. Can't find it. And we're like, okay, let's go back. And just like Paul, I had made the same mistake. I had assumed, because I've never actually went down the road, because I would come, let me make a little diagram quick. So I would come up on a road like this. It would intersect this road, and then I'd take a right, and then I'd take a left, and I'd park right there. Well, this side of the road curved a little bit. I had assumed that curve was a 90 degree that was boxing in the area. So I'm like, no matter what, if we just head west or south or even back east, we're going to run into road. I know we can't go north because the Grand River runs through there and we'll just run into the river. Yeah, we could go north and follow the river and eventually run into the road. But like, okay, so we start heading west. And we're going west. We run into another stream we can't cross. Like, okay, west isn't working out. Let's try going south. And now I was so blasted out of my mind. I didn't even think about the fact that I had a compass mounted on my chest. So I was trying to use a Big Dipper to tell direction, which it worked. I knew where north was. So that kept us, but looking up at the Big Dipper, like, okay, so I got turned around. I'm no longer heading west. I got to go this way. And then I was basically just doing circles, because when you go around trees and stuff, you get thrown off the course sometime because the cover is just that thick. You can't walk in a straight line. So, like, crouch down, go under a piece of brush, then you're standing back up, and well, now you got to crouch down this way. So your direction gets all screwed up. And because I didn't even think about the fact that I had a compass mounted right on my chest, using the Big Dipper, nice clear, good thing was it was a clear sky, there was a moon out, so that made things a lot easier. So now my pants are starting to get soaked, I can feel water starting to come up to my knees, and we've been trying to get out of there for like probably 45 minutes, an hour, and I'm like, dude, we're really lost. Like, seriously, we are really, really lost. It seems like no matter which direction we hit, we run into water. We keep walking in one direction, boom, all of a sudden there's water we can't cross. I mean, we could cross it if we wanted to go swimming, but we'll just leave it at we can't cross it. So we come up to water, oh, damn it. Change of direction. Come up to water, damn it! Change of direction. Come up to water, damn it! Change of direction. So somehow, we got trapped in. I don't know if we found like the only path that goes in and then there's water surrounded all around. We must have zigzagged all over the place trying to get out of this area so we could get back to the road because we knew once we found the road, we'd be good. Zigzagged all over the place. Finally, by just dumb luck, I hear a car go by, so I know exactly where the road is. We start walking, and there was just a little creek. We trudge through that, get over, and we ultimately get to the road and get out. The point is, we were pretty lucky. That wasn't that big of an area. It's only a couple of miles across. No matter what, we would have eventually got out. But that was terrifying. I was in a relatively small area, and I had completely lost my sense of direction. I made several mistakes. I mean, one of the biggest ones is obvious. I was blown out of my mind. But yeah, it happens to the best of us. Even the people that are in the woods all the time, it happens. You can get lost. So you are going to want, if you go into the woods, to put a plan together. I didn't tell anybody where I was going. If I would have got lost in there, like it would have actually been a spot where I would have got hypothermia or bumped my head and knocked myself out, it could have been days before somebody knew I was missing. Nobody knew where I was. Yes, I had a compass, but I totally forgot about it. I was under the influence. I didn't have warm clothes. I assumed if we shot a deer, we'd find it right away and we'd be out of there. I was literally in this like, oh God, I'm so cold. I'm so cold. All the mistakes we made. Didn't have a flare gun. Didn't have dry socks. Didn't have insulated boots. Didn't have waterproof boots. We didn't know the area that well. We were operating under assumptions. Just little mistakes piled on top of each other can get you killed out in the woods. You really gotta watch some videos on how to survive in the woods or what you should take in when you're hunting. Even a whistle would have been great. I'm sure there was a house close enough. If we just started wailing on a whistle, somebody would have heard us. Little mistakes. And it can happen to the best of us. Don't ever think that no matter what, you can't get lost. Yes, there are exceptions, like a very small piece of property, or you've been out on that piece of property and you know it extremely well. But the biggest mistake I made, you know, aside from being blasted, was the fact I didn't actually know that the road took a 90. I always assumed it because when I'd pull up to the stop sign, I'd see a car go by, and I'd see it go around the corner. I assumed it took a 90. No, it was just barely like a 15-degree corner. I would have walked through that water if I would have kept trying to be like, okay, we're probably closest to the western road. Let's keep going that way. So I take a swim in the water. Hypothermia starts to set in because it would have been miles. Several bodies of water I would have had to cross before I would have actually ran into the road. I could be dead. Out of stupid luck, I decided to go for the southern road. If I would have went for the western road, you probably wouldn't even have heard of CRS Firearms. So again, a little bit of foresight, a little bit of planning goes a very long way. Don't be like me. Definitely don't do what Paul did either. Don't make assumptions. Figure that crap out for sure. His assumption was the road was 1.5 miles long. It was 300 yards long. That one stupid little assumption, he had to spend the night in the woods. Again, just stupid little mistakes. You don't make assumptions. If you think a road takes a 90, go and check and see if it takes a damn 90. Yeah, now we got Google Earth, so you can literally take your phone and look, but that wasn't the case back then. So when you're on a spot, take Google Earth. Look at the terrain. See what the hell is going on. Get a bird's eye view, this way you know what's up. Those little things can make a life or death difference of your experience out in the woods. But anyways, apologize this video went on forever, but you know, I just thought I'd put that out there. Even though I'm in the woods all the time and I'm a straight up country kid, I've got lost. Anyway, if you like Help Support Channel, got my Patreon right there. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Just by clicking on those links, doing the Amazon shopping you're going to do anyway, I had a little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Why do you gotta be such a heartless little brat?
If I am such a brat, then why don't you spank me right now, Daddy, and show me what a bad girl I have been and teach me a lesson.
Okay, I might have been overreacting a little bit, Lacey. I love you. I'm never gonna trade you in.
I love you too.
It's not the action I wanted, but it's the action I can get.